I don't believe the worse the better. That's nonsense. But these changes are changing people. People are moving to the left. I don't expect much is going to happen in the United States. And every time I come to the United States, people get up and say, Eurocentrism is bad, and they go on and on about it. You know, it's terrible, Eurocentrism. Well, I'm an unashamed Eurocentric. I have to say, I don't think much is going to happen in the United States. But that's not true of Europe. Greece is certainly unstable. And of course, we've got all the other countries which were lined up. And it's part of the reason why they're attacking Greece. They want to have the other countries. Portugal, Spain, Italy, France, Britain for that matter. The Funko head, Paul Gross, talked to the British debt as being toxic. So the cuts will be considerable. They're already coming in Britain to a considerable degree. Michael spoke of social democracy being, I think that's really true. Social democracy has been finished for decades. What we're looking at is its afterlife. If the Labour Party does not win in Britain, it's finished. It's finished as a party. Its members have left it. Its activists have left it. And the working class hates it. Who would want such a party? The discussion, of course, is what will succeed it. Social democracy is finished. That isn't the way. There's no question that the crisis has helped everybody see this. In that respect, we can say the crisis is helping. The worse is not the better. And it's always possible that if the left does not succeed, you'll get disintegration. The logic is not fascism. It is increasing authoritarianism, which we already have, but also disintegration. Disintegration of a system. Disintegration within the economy, within politics, between states. It's not an accident that the euro is in great, great trouble. The different states are pulling apart. That's what tends to happen in a downturn or in a depression or in the crisis of a system. That is what's happening. And that is a possibility, because you don't automatically have the left taking power or move to socialism. The alternative to socialism is increasing disintegration. Thank you.
Thank you. I just wanted to say we have a couple of books that I forgot to mention. Michael Hudson, since we're plugging everything, Trade Development and Foreign Debt, Americans Protectionist Takeoff. And I just wanted to say, too, I would be remiss without mentioning, since Hillel talked a little bit about Greece, and why is it that Greece, which is 2% of the EU, is being perhaps allowed to fail. I doubt if they'll actually allow it to fail. We could ask the same question about the United States in regard to California, which is 14% of our economy, and in which we now have 1 in 4 people without health insurance. We have 1 in 4 houses underwater, projected by Jack to be 40% by the next year. How do you allow 40% of houses to be in foreclosure? And at the same time that Obama had a stimulus that we all can say was not enough of a stimulus, because states are required by their constitution to balance the budgets, the states undermine what the federal government is doing. They're working at cross purposes. So you cannot stimulate the economy when you have to balance the budget. California's got something like a $41 billion deficit, and so pink slips are going out to teachers, hospitals, and everything that you see in the worst of places is happening right here in what was, considered to be one of the most prosperous states in the Union. And the difference with Greece is, to come to think of it, even though there's been a spectacular fight back by the educational community from K through 12 through community colleges, through the universities, on March 4th, the Day of Action, and now they're actually marching in a 48-day march from Los Angeles to Sacramento, imitating Cesar Chavez's great marches, to go to Sacramento to demand what? Something. And it also includes public sector workers, those community services being cut. Nonetheless, California doesn't have the militancy of Greece. And yet, would that it did. However, it's the same situation that it looks like California could go under. We're in a gubernatorial race, and we have Meg Whitman from eBay as the leading candidate. to contend with only Jerry Brown from the from the Democratic side, and neither one of them have a prescription. She'll just cut it to the bone. He'll try to save it somehow. But the prospect is extremely grim, and California just happens to always be the harbinger of what happens in the rest of the country. As California goes, a little bit later, the rest of the country follows. So maybe we can start to discuss some of that in this larger discussion. So let's just get an indication of how many people want to ask questions, and then we'll go right to the panel. Oh my God. Okay, so.
The system which the Senate crash was created in order to destabilize the world for some reason.
Okay, and I'm going to do this. I want to take the questions first and then see if we can get the panelists to go. So who would you guys say second?
I'm on Glasgow University. Two-part question. One, the role of plunge protection team, and Mike Hudson can respond to that.
A little louder, please.
The role of plunge protection team. PPT, Charles Byerman is talking about how they're intervening in the market and what Michael Hudson might have to say about that. Second, this current crisis is very different in the sense that the periphery is going much more stronger than before, and what is the impact of that in terms of the larger crisis?
Okay, this way.
This is kind of directed to Michael Hudson. The euro and a lot of the comparisons when the euro was first formed was compared to the United States, and obviously there are a lot of differences with labor migration and fiscal redistribution systems. And so, what kind of fiscal redistribution system do you think they would need for asymmetric shocks in the euro to have it to work more like a normal country's currency?
All right, there you go.
What I don't understand about these economists who miss the crisis is they look, like all economists have to be looking at a series throughout history, just like you're looking at the series throughout history. And there was even a crash in 2001 with the dot-com bubble crash. So my question is, how are they not putting the historical perspective in with their model, or is it just something they just don't want to say because everybody just happy making money and they don't want to be the Barringer of bad beer said the messenger always gets killed. So maybe that's my question.
So we're here to outline some possible future scenarios. If we go this way or if we go that way. I was very impressed with Kevin Phillips' 2008 book, Bad Money, where he talks about the financialization of an economy as the last stage of empire. And he looks at the Spanish, Dutch, British, and now the U.S. empire. But it's not just the U.S. empire, it's the whole global system now. I mean, are we going to be replaced by China? I don't even know what that question means anymore. The speakers have brought us a little more up to date from the...
No, that the first thing that the Chicago boys did in Chile when they took over under Pinochet was to close every economics department in the country, every social science department in the country, close down all the labor unions. You cannot have a free enterprise economy without totalitarian control of the educational system. If you permit a free press, if you permit a knowledge of history, if you let people read classical economics, then the whole thing falls apart. You must, free economics, free enterprise means totalitarian control. So of course you're not going to have history. Of course you're not going to have classical economics. And throughout the United States, you will not, since the Chicago boys have taken over the economics curriculum, they've dropped the history of economic thought. They've excluded economic history from the curriculum. So there's no knowledge of it at all. And you can just look today at the discussions of who's going to be on the Federal Reserve. A precondition for being appointed to the Federal Reserve is you have no understanding at all of how the financial system works. If you understand, it's as bad as knowing Arabic and going to work for the State Department. So you have that. Now to the question that Walter brought up, which is a question that probably comes up more than any other in Marxist discussions, and that is what Hillel mentioned when he said the magic words, fictitious capital. This is the most important question, and within the Marxist movement for the last 50 years, there's been a discussion, is this financial capital an outgrowth of industrial capital, or has it become something autonomous?